What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to take an early look at the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider Omnibus Volume 2. Now, I know Volume 2s aren't always the most exciting, but I think that this one is a little bit different. You've got Ghost Rider teaming up with the X-Men. You've got Danny Ketch teaming up with Blaze to create the Spirits of Vengeance, the creation of the Midnight Suns, the first appearance of Vengeance, and so much more. We're going to take a deep dive look into this one. If you'd like the video, if you dug it, leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below, and let's jump into it. All right, so this one is scheduled to come out on October 8th. This is the standard cover, which is the Spirits of Vengeance cover with Johnny Blaze and Danny Ketch Ghost Rider by father and son duo Joe and Adam KUBERT. The direct market variant is the Jim Lee variant, which has Ghost Rider with the X-Men from that team-up storyline. This is a case where I actually think I like the standard cover better, though. Even though Jim Lee is the GOAT, this kind of more reflects the material that's in the omnibus, even though that X-Men story is in there. Anyway, here's the spine. It's a thick omnibus. Danny Ketch Ghost Rider. You got Howard MACKIE, Ron Wagner, Adam and Andy KUBERT, and BRET, BLEVINS. And then moving on to the back, I'll tell you what it collects, but then I'll break it down way more when we get into the book. But it has Ghost Rider issues 25 through 40, continuing from the 90s run and that Volume 1 omnibus. Then it has the Ghost Rider Blaze Spirits of Vengeance issues 1 through 13, Morbius the Vampire 1 and 12, Darkhold pages from the Book of Sins 1 and 11, Nightstalkers 1 and 10, which all of that is the first Midnight Suns storyline and then the second storyline. So it'll make more sense when I break it down. After that, we get the graphic novel, The Ghost Rider Captain America Fear. Then you get X-Men issue 9, which is part of the X-Men Brood team up. Web of Spider-Man 95 and 96, which is the Spirits of Venom storyline. Well, part of it, which ties into the Spirits of Vengeance stuff, which, like I said, it'll make more sense when I break it down. You get the Midnight Suns Unlimited issue 3 because it's the full issue, but you do get the Midnight Suns stories from issues 1 and 2. Again, we'll break it down. And then it also has material from Marvel Comics Presents. It basically has issues 119 through 130 of just the Midnight Suns story from Marvel Comics Presents, because those are comics that collected 2 stories that were totally different. We also get the Marvel Holiday Special issue 3, the 1991 edition, and I think that's it, but we'll go through it and we'll check it all out. Big Boy Omnibus, $150 is the retail price. You can pre-order it now for just $101 over at panelboundcomics.com. You can save an additional $2 by using code GEMMINT at checkout. They're also having this massive sale for their DC collected editions, stuff 50% off, so make sure to check out Panelbound Comics. And let's take a look under this dust jacket. Here we have the inside of the dust jacket. So talking about where we start off in the series with Blackout, eventually leading to the team up with the X-Men. Then it talks about Lilith, the mother of demons, who's like the big bad for the Midnight Suns and the Spirits of Vengeance. Then we have a Nightmare issue from Doctor Strange lore, so we get a little bit of that. Mephisto gets involved, and we get a new Ghost Rider villain, which will later become an anti-hero with Vengeance. Then we get the Madcap stuff, Captain America, team up, like I mentioned, with Fear. Spirits of Venom, which I believe is collected in the Venom Omnibus, but one of my childhood favorites, and other stuff with Typhoid Mary we'll take a look at. Then all the creators here, like I mentioned, you have the writers, the artists, wraparound cover, pretty cool. You have Ghost Rider with Blackout, opening up to some black cover pages. Man, the art, the Adam KUBERT art in this book, I don't know if he did this one or not, but this one, they all look like t-shirt designs. Here's all the credits. Again, Ghost Rider. The table of contents. So this is how we'll see how everything's mapped out. Again, you got the 2 Ghost Riders riding together. So it starts off with Ghost Rider issue 25. And again, man, this omnibus, for the art alone, is worth it. You have that 90s goodness. But this is all the stuff with Blackout, which will lead up into the team up with Danny Ketch and Blaze. And then they'll start the Spirits of Vengeance, and then eventually the Midnight Suns. So at the end of this issue, they kind of tease everything. And man, look at the art here. Again, Spirits of Vengeance, Blaze, Ghost Rider. Then they have the other books. Morbius, he had a new series. Darkhold had an ongoing series. Then you had the Nightstalkers, which has Blade in there. So they had all these series, and they all start with the Midnight Suns, Rise of the Midnight Suns storyline. But before that, we get Ghost Rider issue 26, which has a Jim Lee cover. It's a team up with the X-Men, like I mentioned, and it's Ghost Rider and the X-Men versus the Brood. So pretty cool stuff there. This probably double dips in that blue and gold omnibus from the X-Men as well, because it's that same era. But the Ghost Rider stuff, art is crazy. Ron Wagner stuff, and then Jim Lee does the X-Men stuff, which you'll see follows right here with X-Men issue 9. So Jim Lee with Scott Lobdell. Little horizontal 90s action for you. But yeah, straight 90s X-Men. Again, this is early in that run. This is where they start fighting with the Brood, and Ghost Rider gets possessed by the Brood. So that's the whole big fight here. And I think this is a 3 or 4 issue story, right? Because here goes Ghost Rider 27, continuing the Brood story. Now Ghost Rider's back. He's fighting with the X-Men. Still with the Ron Wagner art. But yeah, man, this is my childhood era right here, man. This early 90s stuff. Cyclops with the optic blast. All right, then the next issue. Yeah, so it's a 3-part X-Men story. Then you jump into the Rise of the Midnight Suns. I want to say these were all polybagged. And yeah, we'll see at the end of this omnibus. They were polybagged with mini posters that turned into this one large poster. I might have to try to hunt those down, man. That sounds like a fun project. But Andy Kubert with his father Joe on the art on the cover here. So the Midnight Suns is the formation of like this team. The 2 Ghost Riders, which are the Spirits of Vengeance, with Johnny Blaze and Danny Ketch. Then they team up with Morbius and Blade's team, the Nightstalkers. So it's kind of like the Avengers of the occult, if you will. And this is kind of foreshadowing the team here, or it's showing a vision of the team. This is like the first cameo appearance of the Midnight Suns. So this teases it, and then we lead into all those new solo series, like Ghost Rider and Blaze Spirits of Vengeance issue 1, which is part 2 of Rise of the Midnight Suns. So the first Midnight Suns story arc. It's kind of weird how they do it, because like part 3 of this storyline takes place in Morbius 1, which we'll see coming up here. All right, so this one has Adam Kubert artwork. Man, Adam Kubert, early 90s Ghost Rider, Spirits of Vengeance stuff. This is incredible, man. Here goes Lilith. So Lilith is the big bad, the mother of demons, and then eventually her offspring, who are the main antagonists in this storyline. The sequel, The Midnight Massacre, we'll talk about that when we get there, but they have a new antagonist for that storyline. I like how they had this image from, like, what is it, Ghost Rider 15 or something, as kind of like the page break. So we're in the middle of that Rise of the Midnight Suns, but then Ghost Rider issue 29 comes out next, and it's not that storyline. It's this Wolverine team up with Howard Mackie writing it and Andy Kubert on the art this time. So you had all 3 Kuberts involved with this run. Yeah, so this was a Wolverine Beast kind of team up issue within the Ghost Rider, kind of taking a pause from the Midnight Suns storyline in a weird way. But incredible artwork, big dumb 90s fun. And then the next issue in Spirits of Vengeance will be the Nightmare stuff. But what happens next is Morbius issue 1, like I said, part 3 of 6 of the Rise of the Midnight Suns. So starting to incorporate Morb, Ron Wagner art here, which is cool to see. I always knew more of Morbius from the Spider-Man animated series lore, and he is really kind of like a Spider-Man villain. First appeared with Spidey. I think one of the Morbius stories within this book, it also has a Spider-Man interaction or team up. But yeah, here's Morbius 1, continuing the Midnight Suns. Lilith is trying to take over the world, so they're going to try to prevent that from happening. See, and then back to the Spirits of Vengeance title with issue 2, it's kind of just like that last Ghost Rider issue. It's just another random story here with Johnny Blaze and Danny Ketch working as this team, just this kind of like random story. Gotta love that 90s Ghost Rider bike. So issue 30 is where the Nightmare story happens. You know, it's funny, we were just talking about this character on our live stream, that we haven't seen like a proper statue for that character, like a premium format or something would be dope. So Andy Kubert, Joe Kubert, Nightmare versus the Spirits of Vengeance. Then we get the Darkhold issue 1, part 4 of 6 of this same story, the Midnight Suns versus Lilith. We start to see the offspring of Lilith come into play. Always love this cover with that all-white background. So issue 3 of Spirits of Vengeance, another of Lilith's offspring, kills for mommy dearest. Adam Kubert cover. He goes, Lilith. Yeah, but the art was great because he did the cover and he did the interiors, man. That's what I loved about these comics when, as a kid. Like, you would see the cover, and that's exactly what you would get in the interiors. Nightstalkers, which is the Blade team, they get their own solo series, and it's part 5 of 6 for the Rise of the Midnight Suns. Again, here's Lilith, getting ready to wrap up this storyline. Here's Blade, the vampire hunter. All right, so that first Midnight Sun story wraps up here in Ghost Rider 31. I guess this is what, the first full appearance of the team. This is when they actually come together as a team. This is another kind of cameo versus first full appearance kind of thing. So here goes a double page spread. Yeah, so they got to take down Lilith, take down her children. Boom, that's a wrap. If you guys missed out on any of those San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, look no further than that Spider-Man booth on Whatnot. They've got the Invincible Universe Battle Beast exclusive by Ryan Ottley, the Marvel Swimsuit Special by Rose Besh, and they even got that rare Jim Lee Hush 2 black and white cover. Make sure to bookmark that Spider-Man booth's upcoming shows and give them a follow. All right, so then we're back into the regular ongoing series for Ghost Rider. This is where BRET BLEVINS joins in, and you got the Sorcerer Supreme stuff. So Doc Strange, Ghost Rider team up, basically. Then it gets into the Ghost Rider Captain America Fear. This is a graphic novel by Howard Mackie. Lee Weeks was the penciler. Al Williamson is the inker. And you got Gregory Wright as the colorist and Michael Heisler as the letterer. So just another Ghost Rider team up. A lot of team ups in this era, right, for Ghost Rider. And then here's the Marvel Comics Presents stuff. So I want to say these were... I don't remember if these issues were the ones that you would flip it upside down and it would be a totally different comic book, different story. So the first Marvel Comics Presents run is this Ghost Rider Cloak and Dagger team up. It was written by Paula Foy and penciled by Alexander Morrissey. So you can see they go really quick because it's just like half an issue and then boom, you would have to continue the story in the next issue of Marvel Comics Presents. So Ghost Rider's got two runs in this omnibus like that. The Cloak and Dagger one being the first one, which is another cool one. Another one that was like characters I knew from Spider-Man. Man, I had this as a kid, man. Ghost Rider, issue 33. This is just a Madcap story. I want to say Madcap was more of a Daredevil villain, right? But it's kind of like a Joker type of character. Crazy guy. I remember I read this front and back a million times as a kid. Dug the artwork here. Who was the artist on it? Oh, BRET BLEVINS. Nice. All right, so that's the Madcap stuff. Then the next issue, this was just some other kind of monster he was fighting, just like a kind of random issue. He goes to issue 35. This is the cop, Battolino, who makes a deal with Mephisto. His family gets killed by the spirit of vengeance, the spirit that possesses Danny Ketch and Johnny Blaze to be the Ghost Rider. Kills his family, so he blames Ghost Rider and makes a deal with Mephisto, and he becomes the villain Vengeance. So we'll see more of that in a little bit. Here goes issue 36. That continues here with issue 37, but this has the Archangel team up, which is funny because I just did 2 Archangel statue reviews, almost really 3. But we had the Sideshow Premium format with this design, with this color scheme, and then we had the Uncanny X-Force variant. So check that out if you want to see a huge, like 30-inch Archangel statue. But you get another X-Men team up with him in this issue of Ghost Rider. Issue 38, Return of the Scarecrow. I used to have a t-shirt where this was the total image on the back. Yeah, so then you get just kind of another random one-and-done issue before we get into the next event. So here's the second run from Marvel Comics Presents. This is Ann Nocenti writing this. You have Steve Lytle on the art. So just a couple of issues, and this is Ghost Rider and Typhoid Mary. Then you have Iron Fist ends up joining this story. So like I said, a couple of pages, and then boom, you're on to the next issue. Man, this was a great cover too on Midnight Suns Unlimited issue 1. So I guess they had a couple of different stories within issues 1 and 2 because it's only a couple of pages for the Spirits of Vengeance stuff. And then it jumps back to Spirits of Vengeance with issue 4. It's cool to see them just in a random team-up story with the 2 Ghost Riders, Blaze and Danny Ketch. Now, what's dope about this issue, though, is that it teases Venom at the end. And then we get the Web of Spider-Man Spirits of Venom Part 1, which is part of this, I think, 4-part story. So the Web of Spider-Man stuff has Howard Mackie writing it, but then you have SAVIUK as the penciler and Rubenstein as the inker. This was super crazy. This is what Demo Goblin and Doppelganger were doing before Maximum Carnage. I had this stuff as a kid as well. You got Spider-Man bringing Hobgoblin in, then he gets chased down by Demo Goblin and Doppelganger. Man, this is just my shit right here, man. Love the Doppelganger Spider-Man. Then it introduces the Spirits of Vengeance into the mix. And this issue ends, and then it'll resume in Spirits of Vengeance. And I love how they kind of cross it out and put Spirits of Venom, because that was the storyline. So part 2 of 4, Adam KUBERT cover. Adam KUBERT interiors, fighting the Spirits of Vengeance with Venom, Doppelganger, Demo Goblin in the sewers. Come on, man. It doesn't get better than this. Look at this artwork too, man. You got Blaze and Venom. KUBERT style. Oh yeah, this is another nice camouflage scene. I always say you don't see too much of that, you know, Venom camouflage happening. Here he is again, coming into form. That's cool, man. Crazy artwork here. Love this one. And then, man, Web of Spider-Man 96. I always loved this Mark Texeira cover, this painted cover. I had this fire cover. So, it's Alex SAVIUK who does the breakdowns with Rubenstein as the finishers for the artwork. But more Howard Mackie continuing the story, fighting in the sewers, monsters, Ghost Rider and Spider-Man and symbiotes and goblins. Come on, man. And then here's the final issue for that storyline in Spirits of Vengeance 6. Adam KUBERT, amazing cover of Venom upside down in the sewers. Got the flaming skull on the chain. Come on, man. Last Rights, Part 4, Spirits of Venom. Look at this, man. Even Venom, classic with the teeth. And it's not even spiked teeth. It's like McFarlane Venom almost, but with like Larson eyes. This is crazy, man. Awesome stuff here. Look at this Venom jumping with his tongue back from the wind, from the movement. All right, so then after that storyline in Spirits of Vengeance issue 6, it's the return of Mephisto, and this is going to be leading into the whole Vengeance storyline, taking this character that was really introduced, I think like in issue 20 or so of Ghost Rider, so that would have been in the first omnibus, but that's the guy that they bring back, Baldini, I think it was, and this is the cover right here for this dust jacket too, so you can kind of see how they did it different. They switched up the trade dress on it. But, yeah, Adam and Joe. Adam as the interior penciler. Here goes Mephisto. Yeah, so they're all leading and teasing into that. Even the next issue, it's the 2-part Carnival of Death, but Ghost Rider's nemesis, Ghost Rider's antithesis, Ghost Rider's assassin. So Mephisto grants him the powers to defeat Ghost Rider. So he has like all the same abilities. He can do the penance stare. Formidable foe, and like I said, he starts off as a villain. This is where you first get the transformation. Boom, horizontal page, but ends up becoming more of like a anti-hero. But the Vengeance character, you've probably seen the action figure back in the day. Issue 10, continuing the storyline. Again, the artwork is incredible. So I mean, it's a Ghost Rider knockoff. It's the whole thing where it's like the villain is an evil version of the hero, except in this case, the hero is already evil looking. Here goes. It's been a long time coming. Vengeance versus Ghost Rider. Bro, this omnibus, this is cool shit, man. All right, so next issue is Kiss of the Spider. Yeah, the Spider's Kiss storyline. Larry Hama with Vince Giarrano. It's funny because you have like a wide range of creators on this book, but the art is just incredible on every page, man. It's like everyone did their thing on this. Ghost Rider 39, Vengeance Returns. Awesome artwork right here. Dang. A Vengeance statue might be where it's at too, right? Maybe somebody should consider that. Then again, man, Blaze and Danny Ketch Ghost Rider riding side by side. All right, then we have the second big Midnight Suns storyline, the Midnight Massacre, and they all had these all-black covers, and they were told over the same titles from that first reign of the Midnight Suns, like Nightstalkers and Morbius and all that stuff. So here is Blade, using one of the pages from the Darkhold, transforms into an evil version of himself, and they call him Switchblade. So he ends up killing most of the Midnight Suns throughout this storyline, and somebody has to fix it, you know, towards the end. But yeah, so this is Blade kind of transforming, becoming this evil Switchblade character. Man, look at this one. Got like this nice horizontal pinup on the Ghost Rider bike. Dang. This is a dope version of Blade. So yeah, part 2 takes place in Ghost Rider issue 40 with the same kind of all-black cover. What was this on the back, maybe? Yeah, Mackie and Garney. Here goes Switchblade. Demo Goblin making a return. Dang, check out the art. It's dope, man. Gotta love this era of comic books, for sure. It's cool to see it Blade as the antagonist here. Part 3 takes place in Darkhold, pages from the Book of Sin. So remember, it collected issues 1 and 11. That's why. 1 was part of the first storyline. Then they have their own stuff going on between issues 2 and 10. And then, boom, ties back around for this Midnight Massacre stuff. The story continues in Morbius, issue 12. More Ron Wagner stuff. I really dig his art too, man. The whole page filled up, big panels, big artwork flooding over the panels at times. Then they changed the trade dress for Ghost Rider Blaze Spirits of Vengeance. And then this is issue 13 from that series, which is continuing the Midnight Massacre. Great paneling right here, right? Big double page spread, more Lilith. So remember, Midnight Suns Unlimited 1 and 2 had like a little partial story. So this entire issue is all Midnight Suns stuff. There's a Spider-Man tie-in. There's a couple of different chapters. So what do you have? A Spider-Man prologue, Spirits of Vengeance, Nightstalkers, Darkhold, Morbius, then a Spider-Man epilogue in this kind of oversized comic book. Oh yeah, Spider-Man turns into Man-Spider. That's right. So even though Spider-Man's in, it's a Spider-Man story, it's still kind of like an occult story. Still like a horror story. Yeah, so that's the Spider-Man stuff. Then here's chapter 2, the Nightstalker stuff, really what's going on with Blade and his team. Then here's the Darkhold stuff, so the art does change. Chapter 3 is Ken Meyer. Yeah, he did a good job, man. I like the painted stuff. Wrapping up the Man-Spider story. Here's the holiday special. Got a little Ghost Rider stuff for the holidays. The Marvel Age issue 115. It has the Midnight Sun stuff. So this was the editor to this. They say editor Bobby Chase is the insidious mastermind behind the rise of the Midnight Suns. Imagine holding all these like original covers. That's crazy, man. So then it has an interview here putting together the teams for Nightstalker, Spirits of Vengeance, Darkhold, and Morbius. Some house ads. Adam Kubert, Derek Ocken, Jimmy Palmiotti. Yeah, so here was the big oversized poster. It says, each chapter of Rise of the Midnight Suns was bagged with a section of a large poster, which all combined to form the full image. Art by Andy Kubert and Adam Kubert. Man, that would be a fun project to put together. I don't think it would be too crazy to collect all those issues. Each chapter of Rise of the Midnight Suns was sold in this printed poly bag. Oh, okay. Yep. Marvel swimsuit special had the Blaze one. Another one. Ernie Chan, Frank Gomez cover. So this, Wizard 13 cover by Nelson DeCastro. This must be the Nelson who did a lot of the trading card stuff back in the day, right? Man, he was the GOAT. And those Spider-Man like 94 sets, like the chase cards, a ton of stuff that he did. This is cool too, man. It's almost like an old 3-6 Mafia cover. All right, so here's the double page, or the wraparound cover for Marvel Comics Presents with the whole Iron Fist story. Oh yeah, remember I said it's upside down? So here was one side of it was a Wolverine story, and then the other side of it was the Ghost Rider Typhoid Mary Iron Fist story. Trade paperback cover, pretty dope for the X-Men Ghost Rider team up. Midnight Suns. Here's some sketches. Spirits of Venom trade paperback covers, which is dope. Some more of that. Midnight Suns trade paperback. Darkhold trade paperback cover. And that's it. See, what did I tell you? Definitely a keeper omnibus for me. Let me know what you thought about the Ghost Rider Volume 2 in the comments down below. Are you picking this up? Appreciate you watching. Stay minty fresh. Peace.